Hey everyone, and welcome to day 6 of my horror movie review marathon, and I've got your Vampires movie review. Vampire hunters are sent out to destroy some vampires before they try to take over the world. Who will succeed? So as far as the story goes, this 1998 film by legendary horror director John Carpenter has vampires running amok and a small group of human vampire hunters to try and stop them. I love watching vampire movies like The Next Person as long as they don't sparkle, so I knew just by the tone of this film alone that I was going to enjoy it because it was every bit what I would expect to see in a vampire movie. I never read the novel that this movie is based on, but I'm sure that on its own merit it gives off a Western apocalypse vibe where this one group looks like a biker gang coming in to take care of business. But when a lone master vampire takes out everyone at a motel party, it seems like an unrealistic situation, but it was unexpected and surprising to see them try to take him on the first time around. So, as far as the casting goes, you've got James Woods, who is leader of the vampire hunters, and he brings a lot of seriousness to this role as well as comedic timing, especially when he starts calling everybody padres, like that priest who also joins the vampire hunter group, Daniel Baldwin, who, he's a tough guy also in this movie who has his own run-ins with vampires and, he has to deal with a lot of other things that I won't spoil. But once the vampires come around, the master vampire, also known as Valak, played by Thomas Ian Griffith, oh man, he really puts Lestat to shame. Because this guy, he was equally scary at times, and, he was pretty decent in his role. So, if you can play vampire pretty well, this guy is definitely one of them. But I would say there were a few times that some of the other actors in this movie, or just actors in general, overacted a lot of the scenes. So it got really ridiculous at times. The things that I liked about this movie was that sometimes the vampires were creepy to look at, and that is exactly what I was really glad to see in this movie. And it was, gruesome at times. I definitely screamed at least once, perhaps twice, and an hour into the film, you've got people popping out of the ground like zombies, but they're actually vampires. This film had a certain coolness to it. I don't know if it had to do with the soundtrack or just the way that the actors were moving around, but most of the time it was just very cool to watch, even though things are going on left and right. But unfortunately, things that I didn't really like about this movie was that, like I said, there was some ridiculousness to this movie, as well as some cheesiness, and that was pretty much all happening in the third act. I don't know if some of it was rushed in a way, but at least it had me laughing at times, so that kind of made up for it. And I wasn't going to say anything about what happens when vampires get killed, because that could also be construed as cheesy and ridiculous, but I kind of liked it because it was appropriate and it worked. So overall, I would say that Vampires was a pretty cool and a pretty decent vampire movie, and I really enjoyed watching it. So, and that's really surprising for me to say for a movie that, came out during the 90s. But hey, it's directed by John Carpenter, so I know I'm definitely a huge fan of his. So I would recommend seeing this movie to anyone who is a fan of vampires, who loves horror movies, or who loves John Carpenter movies in general. So I would give this 4 hearts on the heart rate scale. So let me know in the comments what you guys thought of Vampires, and come back tomorrow for day 7 of my horror movie review marathon. And as always, you guys can subscribe to my channel. I've got more movie reviews, movie updates coming every week for Child Thursday video. You guys can also like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter, and I will see you guys later.